Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. I was planning out my schedule for the videos I was gonna post. I realized that I missed one video and it ruined everything. Then I was like, what am I gonna film now? And I decided on a tag because they are easy and fun, and here we are. I decided to do the reader problems tag because it looked like a lot of fun. I haven't actually read properly through all the questions because I like to do that for the first time here, so that I haven't planned on my answers that much in advance because I think it's funner to do it on the spot, but it does make it harder for myself. But I like to make things hard for myself, apparently. There are 11 questions and the tag was made originally by About to Read, and I will link the original video down below because no one tagged me because I'm here randomly, lol. And the first question is, you have 20,000 books on your TBR, how in the world do you decide what to read next? Okay, first of all, doesn't it really feel like we always have 20,000 books on our TBR because they're literally like thousands upon thousands of books we want to read in the world, but we know we can't. But like, I guess the question means like Erica, my best friend, just came in and scared the crap out of me. Thank you. She just laughed at me as well. It was really rude. I guess the question means your own TBR. It feels like I have 20,000 books there sometimes as well. How I decide what to read next. I just pick what I want to read the most, or if I do a readathon or reading challenge, I pick what fits those prompts, or I make my friends decide for me because I don't like to make decisions on my own. Having 20,000 books would be the dream though, just saying. You're halfway through a book and you're just not loving it. Do you quit or are you committed? Okay, I never DNF books. I don't know, people do it and it's totally fine for them. People consider it a waste of time to waste times on things you do not enjoy. But there's been times where I have changed my mind because of the ending, or like the more I thought about it, I actually kind of liked some parts of it, but like I always stick to the end even like if I detest the whole thing, because I like to know how it goes and I like to see if it might change my mind at some point. But yeah, I don't DNF. I don't think I ever DNF'd anything. I'm trying to really think hard, so I'm not lying, but yeah, I generally don't DNF things, even if I really dislike it or don't like it, or I just don't feel it. The end of the year is coming and you are so close but so far away on your Goodreads reading challenge. Do you try to catch up and how? There was a time of my life right before I actually started here on YouTube where I read not that much. So I had my reading challenge on like 50 books, but I read like 25 a year, and I just changed the challenge down to 25 so that it would say that I completed it because I'm a cheater. But if I was not gonna cheat, I would try to read a lot and also just try to read loads of, for example, mangas and graphic novels or short books that I know I would take less time on, and not pick up like Out of Fantasy of 800 books that I know I would use more time on. And that's how I would do it. The covers of a series you love do not match. How do you cope? Well, I don't. I tend to just like ignore that I do not match. I think the worst thing is when you buy a hardcover and then the next book in the series gets a new cover, and then they release like the first book in the new cover but in paperback, and it's impossible to get it in hardback, so you can't get like matching format or cover, and it's even more annoying. But if the spine matches, I can cope because then like at least on shelf you can see that it doesn't match. But yeah, generally I don't cope. Sometimes do republish a whole series to match, but if they don't do that, I just buy them and I pretend that they all match. There is like UK covers and US covers, and one of them matches above the others, I would go with the ones that matches, but I guess that's like not an option in this question. I just buy them and I just pretend it didn't happen. Everyone and their mother loves a book you really don't like. Who do you bond over shared feelings? Well, isn't that why we have BookTube, to bond over things we have in common and not common? I'm sure there is always someone that do not like your book on the internet, because on the internet people don't like anything. Really, I would just, even if like my best friend loved this story and the book, I'm sure I could rant to her and she listens to me rant and die over things constantly, and even if she loved it, we could both talk about it and we would be fine, because that's how we just deal. We'll be fine. Okay, sure, it will be fine. You're reading a book and you're about to start crying in public. How do you deal? This has happened to me several times. I just blink a lot and I'm just like, I swallow my tears. But once I was on holiday and I was lying like on a sunbed by the pool and I was reading and I started to cry. Like, I couldn't stop it. I was literally just like crying like a baby because I was just so touched of what was happening in the book. And my mom just like turned to me and she was like, why are you crying? Are you okay? And I was like, yeah, it's so sad. But like, really, no one really noticed. I let it out apparently, but that was just like that one time. But like, it's happened on the bus. It's happened when like I read in breaks between classes and there's loads of people there and I get to feel the tears pressing on me and I'm like, I swallow it down and I tough it up. A sequel of a book you love just came out, but you've forgotten a lot from the prior novel. Will you reread the book, skip the sequel, try to find a synopsis on Goodreads, cry in frustration? Sometimes I do decide to reread the sequel, but then I'm like, if I do not have time and I don't want to wait because I just want to get to the book at once, I do not read the first book and I just start on the sequel. And in the beginning I am a lot of the times very confused because I'm like, I don't know who you are or what happened. But then after a while it kind of doesn't matter because I just get into it and then like the thing starts coming back to me, and as they talk about it I'm like, oh okay, I kind of remember what happened and I just roll with it. I've done this several times and it has been fine, so I'm sure I can just keep doing that and I will be fine. But yeah, sometimes I decide to read the first book if I really loved it and I want to experience it again to like have a fully memorized things in my head. That was a sentence. More often than not, I just decide to just go jump into the sequel even if I don't remember everything in the first book. And even sometimes when I think I remember what happened in the first book, I just start on the second one and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So that also happens. You do not want anyone borrowing your books. How do you politely tell people nope when they ask? So this has happened several times that people ask to borrow my books because I have a lot. People know I like books and they're like, can I borrow this book? And I just literally tell them no. I know I seem rude and some people I think have kind of been offended, but I just don't care because I have borrowed books to people in the past. And how the condition I got them back in just was not worth it. So I just don't care. I tell them like the books are my prized possessions and I don't know how you would treat them. So I won't borrow them to you. I will only borrow books to my best friend because she knows how much I love books and she's the only person in the world I trust for them. So I know that she would never do hard things to my books. So yeah. Besides, have you ever thought like if you borrow books to people, you never know what they do, why they read? Like, what if like they pick their nose and like they don't dry off their hands and then they just like touch your books, so your books will come back with a lot of boogeyman on them that you can't see. Yeah, the germs. Ugh. Okay, anyway, next question. Reading ad. You picked up and put down 5 books in the last month. How do you get over your reading slump? I don't think I ever would have picked up 5 books, different books, because I was in a reading slump. Like, I could read several books at once. In the past, I either just don't read or I push myself through that book. Like, I'm pretty sure at some point when I read a little, like I talked about earlier, like 25 books a year, I just like used like 3 months on one book because I was in a reading slump. But like, maybe if I picked up another book that had been more fun, I would have finished that quicker, but that didn't happen. So my stubbornness maybe just pooped on me. To get over reading slump, I would pick up a book either I really loved or just I would push myself through that one book, because then you feel accomplished that you finished it and then you will feel more encouraged to start a new one. That's what happens to me, at least. Or sometimes just reading something really simple and easy, while like of those 5 books that I was reading in this question, I would pick the easiest one to read, and then like if I finished that one, I would just feel, as I said, more accomplished to conquer more worlds and books. There are so many new books coming out that you're dying to read. How many do you actually buy? All of them. Like literally, I don't know. I would buy the ones that I wanted the most. Let's say there is 10 books that I am interested in and excited for, but there's only 2 of them that I know I will read in the possible future and that I'm hyped for the most, or like authors that I like the most. I would probably buy those 3 and then like wait with the other 7 and like maybe wish for them for like birthday or Christmas later, depending like on if I'm still that interested in them like a few months later, for example. But usually I would probably buy them all, but 10 was a bit much. That was just an example. It's usually not that many books every month that I'm interested in. I pick out the ones I know that I want at once on my shelves, and then I get the other ones later, because I know that books don't usually disappear, so they probably will be there later, and people should also remember this. You don't need a book at once. It will be there later, so pick the ones that you know will give you the most joy in that moment. And question 11. After you bought the new books you can't wait to get to, how long do you sit on your shelf before you get to them? A while. It depends on the book and on the author. But for example, Caraval, that I was so excited for before it was released in like January 2017, if I remember correctly. I read that like 2 months ago. So like sometimes it takes me a while, not because like I hear bad things or like I don't want to read it anymore. It's just like other books comes in a way. But some books I do read at once, like Cassandra Clare. I literally binge read them when they come out, and some other authors. But some I like the author, or I hear a lot about it and I buy it and it's just there for forever. And sometimes it just takes me a year, sometimes it takes me 2 months. It really depends on the book or like on my reading plans. So literally, actually, I don't have an answer for this question apparently. I answered everything and nothing. Okay, this tag was a lot of fun. I really like the questions and the different scenarios that is like totally realistic scenarios for a book lover. That was the questions, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to do this tag, you can say you were tagged by me if you want to, because then you feel cool. Maybe not. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.